Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amanda Safwa binti Muhammad Safuri. My friend and I would like to present a slide regarding the title we have chosen, which is Land Law Issue. The topic is about incompetent agents. First of all, I would like to introduce the name of our group members. The group leader is Ahmad Afizuddin bin Arifin. The others group is Aini Najiha binti Ahmad Halim and Amanda Safwa binti Muhammad Safuri. First and foremost, I would like to present the introduction for the essay. The subject we are currently working on is real estate law. What we can learn from studying this subject: real estate law touches on many legal issues related to the ownership or residence of land. The lawyer is an expert in law such as federal, local, state, and law. The use of the term real estate in law for undeveloped or undeveloped land and any building from a source resulting from that land. Michael Whipple once said, "The members of the firm are California-based on lawmakers." So, in this group assignment, we have chosen incompetent agents as the topic for our legal essay. Who is an agent? As defined in Section 182 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agent is a person employed to do any act for another or to represent others in dealing with third parties. The third person for whom such act was done or who was so represented was so called the principal. An agent is merely an extended hand of the principal and cannot claim independent rights. Next, the court said in Lon Karan Sohan Lal vs. John and Co. that it was well settled that for the purpose of determining the legal nature of the relationship between the alleged principal and agent, the use of or omission of the word agents was not conclusive. What does agency law mean? The legal meaning of an agent is someone who acts on behalf of another party and some level of authority assumed to do so. To continue the agency, most of the programs organized must be implemented in human activities and involve all commercial activities, and so on. New land and contracts are required when an agent is available. What needs to be taken into account through the agent method is the action on behalf of the principal and against a third party. How do we know the identity of an incompetent agent? The main thing real estate agents are to prioritize needs when buying and selling land. When we are not sure what we want, the real agent's job is to teach us with questions about the needs we need to obtain through an agent. They also need to think of a suitable offer for us. In real estate law, it requires practical thinking skill. They best said that in negotiating any real estate transaction, we often analyze a number of scenarios. What if that scenario could be a problem if we don't have any experience? It can be said that human skills are an inner necessity to facilitate doing something. Thank you. Next, I'm going to tell you about the abstract. In this article, an inspection of agency facts based on problems encountered in agency relationships, we know that when agents behave honestly and obediently, the information will be presented. Several unexplored research questions may give rise to statements by previous analysts have informed about agency relations attitudes in management. This article systematically analyze the relationship between an agent and a principal contract as set out in the Indian Contract Act 1872. Pursuant to Section 182 of the Act, a person employed to act on behalf of a person is referred to as an agent and can lead and represent him when dealing with third person. Real estate law touch on many legal issues related to the ownership or residence of land. An attorney is an expert in federal, state, and local law. The law and use of real estate commonly referred to as the legal term for undeveloped or undeveloped land and any building from a source arising from that land. In this essay, there are many issues related to agent on how incompetent agent can occur. For example, on 10 November 2019, there was an article on the internet was widely circulated where a customer had been deceived by an incompetent and irresponsible agent. His brokers and bankers helped them get their deposits, but there were no refunds during the check. In the article, there are state ways to warn customers not to be fooled by incompetent agents. Next, the objectives are to find out about methods of avoiding the occurrence of this case happening. We can have gained extensive knowledge and experience of cases related to irresponsible agent. It can make it easier for us to recognize an agent's personality and not be easily fooled by him.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Aini Najia binti Ahmad Halim and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the objectives we will have if we take note of this incompetent agent. Similarly, we were able to find out about methods of avoiding the occurrence of this case happening. The information recorded allow us to know about the procedures carried out when managing real estate firms in Malaysia. Through this study, we gain extensive knowledge and experience of cases related to irresponsible agents. It can make it easier for us to recognize an agent's personality and not be easily fooled by him or her. So, this study will also indirectly be able to cultivate a sense of pride in being a Malaysian because the country has strict laws. We were able to learn more about the laws that apply to irresponsible offenders. Through this study, we were also able to instill an attitude of responsibility, cooperation, and tolerance during the process of collecting and obtaining the information needed to complete this assignment. So next, here I will share a little about problem and issues in Malaysia. On 10 November 2019, there was an article on the internet was widely circulated where a customer had been deceived by an incompetent and irresponsible agent. It starts when a customer was to buy a house and has invested $10,000 in the agent. After that, we were informed that our agent sent the documents to the bank 5 days late. The agent denies it, but the lender confirms the agent was lied. The incompetent agent will not answer calls or emails to find their deposits and refunds for inspection. There are stated ways to warn customers not to be fooled by incompetent agents. The best opportunity to alert other customers is to file a complaint with the licensing authority in your state. Not only that, there are other ways as well. Collect clear and consists documents that describe the details and timing of the event. Include in your complaint a request to return your money for inspection. File charges to each place and then follow the steps of each organization. If you all want to know, the principal agent issue is also the hottest current issue on social media. A principal agent is a prioritizing conflict between a person or group and a representative authorized to act on their behalf. Thank you, that's all from me.
My name is Ahmad Hafizuddin bin Arifin. Today, I will present about the methodology. According to the Section 11 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the condition of a legitimate contract is that the power of the parties to contract. In office, the agent creates an agreement relationship between his principals and conjointly the third party. It is necessary that the principals and conjointly the third party have to be competent to contract. The association has its agents and in its contract. Though a miner himself cannot appoint associate in nursing agent, there is nothing in section 183 that prohibits the guardian of a minor from appointing associate in nursing agents for him. Up next, we have the agent might not be competent to contract by the section 184. The capability of associate in nursing agent might be checked out from two angles. The first one is the capability of associate in nursing agent to act on behalf of the principals, therefore on bind his principals and person. The second one is the agent capability to bind himself by a contract between himself and his principals. Up to now, because the agent's capability to bind himself to the principal's care is not necessary that the agent thought to even be competent to contract. No thought is important to make center by the section 185. The law does not want any thought per tie for the validity of the contract of agency. Up next, we have the agent authority and associate in nursing emergency by the section 189. The rule contained throughout this section is assumed as a result of the rule concerning by the authority of necessity. The previous rules lay down duty or restoration of the power or authority of associate in the nursing agent. Principle sure by rule of evidence by the section 237. The agent is neither unconditional by the categorical or silent authority by the principals to act on his behalf, but the principal thought his act and conduct creates a bearing at intervals the mind of the third party that the agent has to authority to act on his behalf. No act done by associate in nursing agent that was unauthorized by the principals at attending to the binding his on the latter. Conclusion. In cases involving traditional agency power, courts should continue to give prospective instruction to the effect that the incompetence of the principal terminates the relation. It should not be based on the idea that transactions entered into by or on behalf of an incompetent are or necessarily should be avoidable. In cases involving statutory power, courts ought to respect the legislative judgment that a necessity for such power exists. Further, because the selection of principals to the pictures by agents. No courts ought to assume, however, that either an assembly or a principals contemplated social control of association in nursing unfair dealing or series of transactions entered into by the holder of a statutory power. Last but not least, the fairness of any given dealing may be not less relevant wherever the facility is totally than wherever the facility is absent. Specific discussion of the issue. That's all from our group. Thank you.